Hey all, and welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I'd share some top tips that helped me with my revision and study time, that brought my grades up by over 10%, and that hopefully some of these tips will help you also improve your grades as well. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So I thought we'd first start off with the most basic general advice that everybody should be doing regardless, and that is of course maintaining basic hygiene, and just, eating well, sleeping well, kind of making sure that, your baseline health, both mental and physical, is, good, up to standards. You don't know how much it can actually help improve, how well you're listening and taking in information, especially in lectures, and how well you read, especially when you have such little sleep, which I have found to be definitely true over the past few years. So I thought we'd get that first tip out of the way. Definitely shower, do some exercise, go outside, touch grass, and let's get on to some more specific tips. My biggest problem when I was studying is that, as somebody who did a physics degree, I'd have quite a few deadlines, quite a lot of lectures and stuff for multiple subjects going on at once. And I had quite a busy timetable, especially in my first and second years. And sometimes, despite knowing, the weekly routine and what was to be submitted and what I had to attend, I would still feel like that I had so much going on, it was all just very overwhelming. But one thing that I found that really, really helped was actually getting a desk calendar, specifically one that's actually a physical one over here. I got this one from Flying Tiger for, I think it was £3 or £4, so like $5. So it was very affordable, and I found that it really, really did help with not only my time management, but I think because I could physically see what I had to do and what I had just going on, it definitely helped move things out of my brain, if you see what I'm saying. One really good thing about the calendar as well, if I flip to like a previous week, like this one for example, I could put down my weekly things such as my lectures, so you could see I had supermassive black holes, space science, and then supermassive black holes and space science again twice. And so I could see everything that I had to attend and where I had to go. So that was all nice and out of my mind and sort of written up, so I could see it every day and not have to worry about it. But also one thing that I found really nice with this specific one is that every week I would write down my deadlines and tick them off, which gave me a little bit of motivation, if you will. And definitely one thing that really helped was I would write down my achievements, such as the high grades I got for the final bits of coursework that was due in that month. So this really helped keeping up my motivation, definitely helping me be aware of where I am currently in the year and with regards to my assignments and my coursework. And I think it really helped me, keep my head level, if you see what I mean. One optional thing that you can also do is also have a diary/notebook. And I don't actually use this, even though it says daily planner, I don't actually use this as a daily thing and writing down every single thing I have that day, because I would just be here forever constantly writing. But it was really useful in that I could take notes. Let me just show you. I would write down sort of the stuff I had for the semester and the big sort of deadlines, and I could go tick them off. And this also included other things like making videos as well. And I could also write down, of course, similarly to this one, but in more detail, some of the achievements that I've done. But more importantly for this one as well, in this notebook, I also wrote down things like how I've been doing over the semester, like anything I've been struggling with mentally, or, if there's been like a big event that has happened within my life that might have affected things. It's good to get things down and just sort of leave them in the notebook. And then also you can also reflect throughout the year and see how you've been doing. I use this notebook as well to write down really important meeting minutes. So for my literature review and my research project, I would write down basically everything in my notebook. Your supervisor also sees you writing stuff in your notebook, and they see that you're an organized person. So if you want good marks for progress and stuff, definitely write stuff down. It helps if you find that your memory isn't that great and you're taking in quite a lot of information and you don't know, you can't retain everything, which completely makes sense. So for example, with my research project, this is just the first page. I've got multiple of these and I added extra ones when I didn't have space. I would write down all my weeks, highlight the week bits, write down what we've been talking about, any really useful papers, key equations, the next meeting and stuff, which I'd also book in online. But yeah, this stuff was just really useful as well. I'm writing diagrams and stuff in actually like making sure I've got all the information I need. For me, this was really important in my final year especially, but it was just to treat your studies sort of like a 9 to 5, but there is a lot of leeway and a lot of flexibility with that statement. So for me, I couldn't actually work a 9 to 5, it's just with like a 1 hour break. My brain does not work like that. So I would usually work like 10 to 11, have a little break, and then 12 to like 2, have a break, and then work up until like 9 p.m. because I get distracted so easily. But it is good to have like a schedule and like structure to what you're doing, as opposed to just like studying when you need to. Within this time, I will be going through the course textbooks, which are number 1. That will be in my next point in a second. I'll also be going through papers which are relevant to either my literature review or research project, or dissertation or whatnot. And then I can also be going through lecture slides, seeing if I didn't understand anything, and finishing coursework, homework, all that kind of stuff, making sure my reports are up to scratch. With this with the structure as well, you get into the habit of things, and in a way it's like you get the ball rolling, and you have that momentum, and you can just keep on studying. These next set of tips are with regards to actually like studying content wise and making the most out of things like lectures and workshops and whatnot, which definitely attend your workshops. Those are one of the most helpful bits of your first few years, and they help you so much with being able to answer practice questions and whatnot, so definitely attend those. But my first proper tip is that your textbook should be your number 1 resource. Usually this is the structure of a course, or even though people don't really realize it, is that your course, your lecture material and all your stuff is based around a textbook, or maybe even 2 textbooks. And your textbook will go into far more detail than what your lectures will carry. Will have far more variety, like chapters and other topics as well, which also all really solidify what you're going to be assessed on. Definitely, I would recommend seeing if you can either go through the textbook very thoroughly before your lectures start, but I understand that a lot of the times with a physics degree, you just don't have time to do that. But if you can, just sort of skim through stuff, sort of at least try and get the key concepts, and just sort of have an understanding for what's actually being conveyed within this subject. Trust me, going through the textbook will really, really help you get a more advanced, deeper understanding of the subject that you're studying. Also, as a second little thing, your textbook should actually have practice questions within. Definitely do those practice questions. If they are, the set book for the course itself, which every course should have a set textbook. If they do, definitely do them. Your lecturer will absolutely have answers to them, or if they don't, they will know exactly like how to go about solving it and how to go about getting the correct answer. So definitely do those questions, and definitely utilize your lecturers when it comes to like figuring out whether what you've done is right or wrong. They will absolutely help you, and they will be definitely more than happy that you're going through the textbook in your spare time. When it comes to examinable material, I find that the most important things to understand, and also is to some degree memorize, are the equations themselves, especially understanding what they mean, what they're actually telling us, and like how to actually use them. So for example, if I said div b equals 0, what does that actually mean? What is that telling you about the universe? Important concepts and laws of physics. What is that actually saying? And actually, how can you use that and the other 3 Maxwell's equations to create your own equation that you can then solve, and then figure out whatever it is you need to figure out in an exam. So what I would do during lectures, and I've kept this sort of lecture note-taking format for all 4 years, and it has worked tremendously, is that what I would do, if I can even fit this in the frame, is I would highlight and box the most important equations, such as this one for angular momentum. I think that it is. I can't see it's upside down. But and then some sort of less important equations over here. Usually these boxed but not highlighted equations are ones that, you know, build up to the final equation that you used to actually derive this one. So, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. And then, of course, I could highlight titles and stuff to make sure that I can actually see the structure of what I'm learning. Although some people would prefer to highlight things like key concepts that are really important and stuff, so it really depends on what you think you need to absorb most. Finally, I think that practice questions and practice papers are by far the best method of revision, because not only does it require you to actually know and recall things that you've studied, it requires you to actually utilize them appropriately in order to actually get the correct answer. Now, I've talked a little bit about how to hopefully make the most out of your course in terms of your lectures and actually studying, but there are some also more general tips regarding like your time at university that I think can really, in a way, sort of indirectly help your degree, which is, it was definitely something I found in my 4th year when our cohort got much smaller. We all essentially got a little bit more tight-knit, and I was able to sort of, you know, because I had such a closer and better friendship group, you know, I found that I was able to study better, and as a group, you know, we would do a lot more things and it would just make me enjoy my course more, and I think that definitely helped improve my grades, albeit indirectly. I don't know, some psychologists will know what's going on with that, but you know. Please go and befriend and talk to your lecturers, go and say hi, go to their office if their door's open, and just have a general chat. They love it when students are interested in their subject, especially if the subject that they teach is the one that they actually work in, because quite a few lecturers actually teach stuff they're not really experts in, but of course, you know, somebody's got to teach it. But they especially love it if you go and like talk to them about their subject and you show a real interest in them and, you know, the topic itself. They're human beings too, and honestly, if you befriending them, I feel like helps me sort of get the most out of, you know, my lectures and stuff, because we've got a way more friendlier connection. And you know, when you want to go and ask them for help, they'll be more than happy to actually help you with stuff, and potentially even like teach you a couple things that are a little bit beyond the scope of the course itself, but will actually absolutely help you with understanding material better. So doing a physics degree can be quite taxing mentally and, you know, sometimes emotionally, so I do think it's really important to rest. But there are actually, in my opinion, quite a couple different types of rest that you should really engage in just to make sure that you're all very well balanced. So that does include physical rest, which in my experience, that, you know, that does include actually doing exercise, things like yoga, weightlifting, whatnot, but also actually just lazing around at times as well. I also think it's really important that you have some social rest. So, you know, you'll be talking with a lot of people during workshops and stuff, and that might just be quite enough for you, so you need to have some time alone. That was the case for me for quite a while, so do that, definitely. But also, you know, go out to small socials and gatherings, and just also get to chat with people outside of the course as well, which I feel like can be quite rejuvenating in its own way. And then of course, I think one of the ones that's most important for me is creative rest, and I'm sure you know that I definitely love to do a lot of crochet and stuff like that as well, and that I feel like that definitely helps me become more rested and well balanced as well. And I think there might actually be some other types of rest that I've heard in some psychology papers, but like emotional and mental rest, but I don't really know much about those. Just do what you need to do to help yourself stay level-headed. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope some of these tips may be useful for you. I really do recommend things like a desk planner, desk planner, yeah, that's the word, a desk calendar, or even just a small notebook just to jot things down when you need them. It really helped me, definitely. And also, you know, make friends, study together, hang out together, be friends with your lecturers. Don't forget that the textbook is key, and just have fun at uni. Don't over worry about university. It's not the end of the world if you get a bad grade or whatnot. I mean, I actually almost failed my second year, and here I am actually almost bordering on a first class degree. Definitely don't work yourself up too much about university and stuff, and if you definitely are super overwhelmed about a certain, subject or bit of coursework, go and speak to the lecturer, because more often than not, they might actually be able to help you a little bit or give you some leeway with regards to moving the deadline around for you. So definitely don't bottle things up and try your best to stay on top of things before, deadlines are approaching. Definitely don't stress about things too much. Just get your head down, get working, and have fun. See ya.